Fact number 1. The popular image of dinosaurs often focuses on enormous creatures like towering long-necked giants or massive predators. However, not all dinosaurs were huge. In fact, some of them were surprisingly small, comparable in size to modern birds. One fascinating example is Compsognathus, a tiny carnivorous dinosaur that lived during the late Jurassic period. Compsognathus was only about 1 meter, around 3 feet long, and weighed just a few kilograms. This makes it one of the smallest known non-avian dinosaurs. Its body was lightweight and slender, with long hind legs that suggest it was very fast and agile. Unlike the massive, slow-moving dinosaurs people often imagine, this small predator likely relied on speed and quick reflexes to survive. Despite its small size, Compsognathus was still a carnivore. Fossil evidence shows that it fed on small animals, such as lizards and possibly insects. In fact, one well-known fossil contains the remains of a small reptile in its stomach, providing direct evidence of its diet. This suggests that even the smallest dinosaurs occupied important roles in their ecosystems as active hunters. The discovery of Compsognathus helped scientists realize that dinosaurs were far more diverse than previously thought. Early paleontologists often focused on large, dramatic fossils, which created the impression that all dinosaurs were gigantic. However, as more fossils were uncovered, it became clear that dinosaurs came in a wide range of sizes, shapes, and lifestyles. Another interesting aspect of Compsognathus is its similarity to modern birds. Although it is not a direct ancestor of birds, it belongs to the same broader group of theropods, which eventually gave rise to avian species. Its lightweight build, bipedal posture, and active lifestyle all point to characteristics that are also seen in birds today. This connection helps scientists understand how dinosaurs evolved into the birds we see around us. The idea of small dinosaurs also changes how we imagine prehistoric environments. Instead of being dominated only by giant creatures, these ecosystems were likely filled with animals of many different sizes. Small dinosaurs like Compsognathus would have moved quickly through vegetation, hunting prey, avoiding larger predators, and interacting with a wide variety of other species. It is also possible that some small dinosaurs had feathers or feather-like structures, although direct evidence for feathers on Compsognathus itself is limited. Still, many related species have been found with feathers, suggesting that small size and feathered bodies may have been common among certain groups of dinosaurs. In the end, the existence of small dinosaurs like Compsognathus reminds us that the prehistoric world was much more varied than we often imagine. Not all dinosaurs were giants. Some were small, bustri, ilufki, ahotniki, making them just as fascinating as their larger relatives. Fact number 2. The idea that dinosaurs were covered in feathers rather than just scales has dramatically changed how scientists and the public imagine these ancient creatures. For a long time, dinosaurs were depicted as reptile-like animals with rough, scaly skin. However, modern discoveries have shown that many of them, especially a group called theropods, had feathers. One of the most famous examples is Velociraptor. Velociraptor lived during the late Cretaceous period and is often portrayed in movies as a scaly, lizard-like predator. In reality, scientific evidence strongly suggests that it had feathers covering much of its body. This conclusion comes from fossil discoveries, including bones that show small bumps where feathers were attached similar to the quill knobs seen in modern birds. Feathers in dinosaurs were not originally used for flight. Instead, they likely evolved for other purposes, such as insulation, display, or camouflage. For small and medium-sized dinosaurs, feathers could help regulate body temperature, allowing them to stay warm in different climates. This suggests that some dinosaurs may have been warm-blooded or at least had more complex metabolisms than previously thought. In addition to insulation, feathers may have played a role in communication and mating. Brightly colored or patterned feathers could have been used to attract mates or intimidate rivals, much like birds do today. This adds a new layer of complexity to how we understand dinosaur behavior. They were not just primitive creatures, but animals with potentially rich social interactions. The connection between feathered dinosaurs and modern birds is one of the most important discoveries in paleontology. Birds are now considered direct descendants of certain groups of theropod dinosaurs. Features such as hollow bones, three-toed limbs, and feather structures all support this evolutionary link. In this sense, birds are not just similar to dinosaurs, they are living dinosaurs. Discoveries of feathered fossils in places like China have provided incredibly detailed evidence. Some fossils even preserve impressions of feathers, showing their structure and arrangement. These findings have helped scientists reconstruct how dinosaurs might have looked in life, revealing creatures that were far more bird-like than previously imagined. Even larger dinosaurs may have had some form of feather covering, at least during certain stages of their lives. Juvenile dinosaurs, for example, might have had more feathers for warmth, losing some of them as they grew larger and relied less on insulation. The idea of feathered dinosaurs also changes how we visualize prehistoric ecosystems. Instead of a world dominated by dull, gray reptiles, it may have been filled with colorful, active animals with feathers of various shapes and sizes. This makes the ancient world feel more dynamic and vibrant. In the end, the discovery that many dinosaurs had feathers completely reshapes our understanding of them. Creatures like Velociraptor are no longer just reptilian predators. They are part of a fascinating evolutionary story that connects the distant past to the birds we see every day, making this fact both surprising and scientifically significant. Fact number 3. When people think of dinosaurs, they often imagine enormous creatures, but some species truly reach sizes that are difficult to comprehend. One of the most impressive examples is Argentinosaurus, considered one of the largest dinosaurs ever to exist. Its sheer size makes it one of the most extraordinary animals in the history of life on Earth. Argentinosaurus lived during the late Cretaceous period, approximately 90 million years ago, in what is now South America. It belonged to a group of dinosaurs called sauropods, which were characterized by their long necks, long tails, and massive bodies. These herbivorous giants spent most of their time feeding on vegetation, using their long necks to reach leaves high in trees. Estimates suggest that Argentinosaurus could reach lengths of over 30 meters and weigh between 70 and 100 tons. To put that into perspective, its weight could be comparable to several modern airplanes combined. Its body was supported by thick, pillar-like legs that helped distribute its immense mass and allowed it to move, albeit likely slowly. Despite its enormous size, Argentinosaurus had to consume vast amounts of food to sustain itself. Scientists believe it spent most of its day eating, possibly consuming hundreds of kilograms of plants daily. Its long neck allowed it to access a wide feeding area without moving its entire body, making feeding more efficient. The size of Argentinosaurus also served as a form of protection. Fully grown individuals would have had few natural predators, as attacking such a massive animal would be extremely risky. However, young individuals were likely more vulnerable and may have relied on group behavior or rapid growth to survive. One of the most fascinating aspects of studying Argentinosaurus is that scientists have reconstructed its size from relatively limited fossil remains. Only a few bones have been discovered, including parts of the vertebrae and limbs. Despite this, paleontologists can estimate its overall size by comparing these bones to those of better-known related species. The existence of such gigantic animals raises important questions about biology and physics. How could an animal grow so large without collapsing under its own weight? Researchers believe that a combination of factors made this possible, including strong but lightweight bones, efficient respiratory systems, and a metabolism adapted to supporting a massive body. The environment also played a crucial role. During the time of Argentinosaurus, the climate was warmer and vegetation was abundant, providing enough resources to sustain such enormous herbivores. These conditions allowed large dinosaurs to thrive in ways that would be difficult today. In the end, Argentinosaurus represents the extreme limits of animal size on land. Its massive scale challenges our imagination and highlights the incredible diversity of life that once existed on Earth, making it a truly impressive and unforgettable fact to share. Fact number 4. The idea that dinosaurs are completely extinct is actually not entirely true. While the large, non-avian dinosaurs disappeared millions of years ago, one group of dinosaurs survived and continues to live among us today. These survivors are birds. In modern science, birds are considered direct descendants of certain groups of theropod dinosaurs, meaning that, in a very real sense, dinosaurs are still alive. This connection is not just a theory based on vague similarities, it is supported by a large amount of fossil and anatomical evidence. Theropod dinosaurs, a group that includes species like Velociraptor, shared many characteristics with modern birds. These include hollow bones, three-toed limbs, and specific structures in the hips and wrists that are also found in birds today. One of the most important pieces of evidence is the presence of feathers. Many theropod dinosaurs had feathers or feather-like structures, and these features are directly comparable to those seen in modern birds. Over time, these feathers evolved and became specialized for flight in certain lineages. This evolutionary transition is clearly documented in the fossil record, showing a gradual shift from ground-dwelling dinosaurs to flying birds. Another key similarity is the structure of the skeleton. Birds and theropod dinosaurs share a wishbone, furcula, similar skull features, and comparable arrangements of bones in the hands and feet. Even their eggs and nesting behaviors show strong similarities, suggesting that many behaviors seen in birds today originated in their dinosaur ancestors. The evolutionary link became especially clear with the discovery of transitional fossil species that show a mix of dinosaur and bird characteristics. These fossils demonstrate that the change from non-avian dinosaurs to birds was not sudden, but rather a gradual process that took place over millions of years. The survival of these bird-like dinosaurs is tied to the mass extinction event that occurred about 66 million years ago. This event, associated with the Chicxulub impact, led to the extinction of most dinosaur species. However, some small, feathered theropods managed to survive. Their size, adaptability, and possibly their ability to fly or glide may have helped them endure the harsh conditions that followed. Today, birds are one of the most diverse groups of animals on Earth, with thousands of species found in nearly every environment. From tiny hummingbirds to large eagles, they display a wide range of forms and behaviors. Despite this diversity, they all share a common ancestry with dinosaurs. Understanding that birds are living dinosaurs changes how we think about both groups. Dinosaurs are no longer just ancient, extinct creatures. They are part of an ongoing evolutionary story. Every time you see a bird, whether it is a pigeon in a city or a sparrow in a tree, you are looking at a descendant of dinosaurs. In the end, the idea that dinosaurs still exist today makes the past feel much closer to the present. It shows that extinction is not always absolute, and that life can continue in new forms. This connection between ancient dinosaurs and modern birds is one of the most fascinating discoveries in science and a great fact to share with others. Fact number 5. The extinction of the dinosaurs is one of the most dramatic events in the history of life on Earth, and it is closely linked to a catastrophic event known as the Chicxulub impact. This event occurred about 66 million years ago, when a massive asteroid struck what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in present-day Mexico. The consequences of this impact were so extreme that they led to the extinction of about 75% of all species on Earth, including most non-avian dinosaurs. The asteroid responsible for the Chicxulub impact is estimated to have been about 10 kilometers in diameter. When it collided with Earth, it released an enormous amount of energy, far greater than that of billions of atomic bombs combined. The impact created a massive crater over 150 kilometers wide and sent shockwaves through the planet's crust. Immediately after the collision, the surrounding area would have been completely devastated. The force of the impact generated intense heat, likely igniting fires over vast regions. Debris was blasted high into the atmosphere and even into space, eventually falling back to Earth as fiery fragments, further spreading destruction. One of the most significant effects of the Chicxulub impact was what happened to the atmosphere. The impact threw enormous amounts of dust, ash, and sulfur compounds into the air. These particles blocked sunlight, causing global temperatures to drop dramatically. This period of darkness and cooling is often referred to as an impact winter. Without sunlight, plants were unable to carry out photosynthesis, leading to the collapse of food chains. Herbivorous dinosaurs, which depended on plants, began to die off, followed by carnivorous dinosaurs that relied on them for food. The disruption of ecosystems was rapid and widespread, affecting both land and marine life. In addition to cooling, the impact may have caused acid rain due to chemical reactions in the atmosphere. This would have further damaged plants and poisoned water sources. Oceans were also affected, with changes in temperature and chemistry leading to the extinction of many marine species. Despite the scale of the disaster, some forms of life managed to survive. Small mammals, birds, which are descendants of certain dinosaurs, and other resilient species were able to adapt to the harsh conditions. These survivors eventually gave rise to new groups of animals, including mammals that would later dominate the planet. The evidence for the Chicxulub impact comes from multiple scientific sources. Scientists have found a global layer of sediment, rich in iridium, a rare element that is more common in asteroids than in Earth's crust. They have also identified the Chicxulub crater itself using geological and geophysical methods. In the end, the asteroid impact that led to the extinction of the dinosaurs was a turning point in Earth's history. It reshaped life on the planet and opened the way for the rise of new species. The sheer scale and power of this event make it one of the most fascinating and awe-inspiring facts about the prehistoric world. Fact number 6. The idea that some dinosaurs had what people once called a second brain is one of the most curious and long-standing myths in paleontology. This idea is often associated with the dinosaur Stegosaurus, a plant-eating dinosaur known for the large plates along its back and spikes on its tail. Early scientists believed that this dinosaur had not just one brain in its head, but another in its lower body, near the hips. The reason for this belief comes from the unusual anatomy of Stegosaurus. When paleontologists first studied its skeleton, they noticed that its brain was surprisingly small compared to its massive body. In fact, the brain was roughly the size of a walnut, which seemed far too small to control such a large animal. This led to speculation that an additional brain might exist elsewhere in the body to help manage movement and bodily functions. Further supporting this idea was the presence of a large cavity in the dinosaur's hip region within the spinal column. Early researchers thought this cavity might have housed a second brain or a major nerve center. The theory suggested that while the main brain controlled basic functions, the second brain could have helped coordinate the powerful hind legs and tail. However, modern science has shown that this interpretation was incorrect. The cavity in the hip region of Stegosaurus was not a brain at all. Instead, it likely contained a structure known as a glycogen body, which is found in modern birds. This structure is associated with energy storage and may play a role in supporting the nervous system, but it is not capable of processing information like a brain. Even though the second brain idea is a myth, it highlights how scientists interpret limited evidence and refine their understanding over time. Early paleontologists did not have access to the detailed fossil records and modern imaging techniques available today. As a result, they sometimes made conclusions that later turned out to be inaccurate. Interestingly, the nervous system of dinosaurs like Stegosaurus was still complex and effective, even without a second brain. Like modern animals, it relied on a central brain connected to a spinal cord and a network of nerves throughout the body. Some parts of the spinal cord may have been enlarged to handle specific functions, but they did not function as independent brains. The myth of the second brain also reflects how unusual some dinosaurs were. The extreme proportions of Stegosaurus, a large body with a small head, made it seem almost illogical by modern standards. This unusual anatomy sparked curiosity and imaginative explanations, contributing to the dinosaur's mystique. Today, Stegosaurus remains one of the most recognizable dinosaurs, and its supposed second brain is still often mentioned in popular culture. While the idea is no longer scientifically accepted, it serves as a reminder of how scientific knowledge evolves and improves over time. In the end, the story of the second brain is not just about dinosaurs, it is about the process of discovery. It shows how scientists question, test, and revise ideas as new evidence becomes available, turning early misconceptions into a deeper and more accurate understanding of the natural world.